2004, my family and I began an intrepid journey into the unknown. A family hailing from a war-torn Burundi where my eldest sister was born. Afraid of the relentless chaos and murder between the warring tribes, the Hutu and the Tutsi, my parents decided to uproot and move to Kenya, and this is where I was born. I grew up in a city called Nairobi, but due to changing circumstances, I also lived in Tanzania and Uganda, where my second sister was born and sadly passed away. Eventually, my parents decided we'd move to a place called New Zealand. I should explain that we grew up watching a lot of American shows, things like The Cosbys, Sister Sister, and The Fresh Prince, so from this culture, we expected New Zealand to be somewhat the same. We were wrong. We came here through a refugee system and spent our first 6 weeks in a camp in Mangere. It was funny for me, for going from only seeing white people on TV shows to meeting a new one every day. It was a big deal for me. At this camp, we were transitioned into the New Zealand customs and lifestyle of meat pies, gumboots, jandals, L&P, and a game where they kick an oblong ball around until someone either gets hit or scores what they called a try. I wasn't much of a distance runner back home, so I was intrigued. Eventually, we found a house on the North Shore. On our first day there, my sister and I decided we'd go for a walk around the neighborhood, but unfamiliar with our surroundings, we got lost. Now, if you know the shore, you understand it's because everything looks pretty much the same. And we had just come from a place filled with project buildings and condensed slums spread across the same neighborhood. My sister and I made it back home that night, but only to later find out we hadn't even hit the main road. Soon enough, we learned that even though it's a small country, it's full of attitude. A very laid-back, relaxed, kia ora, bro, how's it, my brother, sort of attitude. It seemed they followed LMFAO's concept of no shoes, no shirt, and I still get service. You see, back home, you either had a privileged lifestyle or a wealthy uncle. Otherwise, you couldn't afford certain things like shoes. So we thought everyone here was poor when we went for a walk and noticed so many people without shoes on. But apparently going barefoot is a common thing. We also learned that short shorts for boys are called league shorts, and winter attire looks a lot like the summer one, so while I'm wearing 3 thermal tops on what I consider a cold day, my friends simply throw on a puffer jacket on top of their singlets and resume their normal routines of heading to the beach in their league shorts. The word foreign really started to make sense. And schooling was another situation. In the primary I was enrolled to here, the school t-shirt was the full uniform, and it was only worn on Fridays, and they had 2 playgrounds, as opposed to the strict dress code we had back home and the giant empty field we kicked plastic bag-made soccer balls on. By the time I hit high school, I'd become accustomed to the culture, but still perplexed by certain aspects, like growing up in Kenya, you're told for that 8 hours you're at school, your teacher becomes your mother and your father, so you must treat them with the same respect. But here, speaking up and arguing was often encouraged. Kids in classrooms with cell phones and earphones, barely paying attention was normal, whereas back home, even getting a question wrong would award you a grade A butt whooping in front of everyone. So coming here and finding out what we call disciplining was translated as child abuse. It reminded me of that giant ocean between Kenya and New Zealand. Personally, I wouldn't change the way I was raised. Experiencing polar opposites has been confusing but enlightening. Because on one hand, you're pushed to learn everything, and on the other hand, you're told to pursue only what you love. My love of words and music somehow landed me in a writer's workshop with Miss Grace Taylor. Once again, I found myself venturing into an unknown world, but this time, it was poetry. This ancient art form captivated me and left me yearning for more. So I entered the 2012 Rising Voices competition as the youngest competitor in a group with ages stemming from 16 to 24, expecting nothing more than you have potential and a decent story, but stop rhyming so much. I won the whole slam. But more than the competition, I won a journey. A journey that began with my voice, my story, and one mic. That one night has now taken me to stages all over Auckland, TV show appearances, and my second TED Talks. Through everything I've done, my family has always encouraged me to learn to adapt in any environment, but stay true to the roots of my people. You see, my mother is a great example of what I like to call a cultural chameleon, because no matter where we go, she always finds a way to hold on to home, and yet embrace everything this new world has to offer. She's the reason I have no fear. The reason I venture into the unknown every day without expectation or limitation. So, Mom, this one's for you. M-O-M-M-A. She is a queen. A woman of prestige and excellence, a heaven-sent angel with a mind filled with relevance. She's never second best. She a hustler with more intelligence, and even after working overtime, she looks elegant. She carries all her pain on her shoulders of giant, titanium bulletproof. She's the woman of iron. You see, I can't imagine Mama dying. She's too defiant. Even Father Time says, my mama is reliant. A true meaning of the word unstoppable. Fears are just illusions in her mind, so she's breaking every obstacle. She's more priceless than Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. She's my eighth wonder like the pyramids of Giza. She's too fast, too strong, and too damn focused. Your daddy beat my daddy? Well, my mama smacked him hopeless. She's been my inspiration since forever. Even when my Alzheimer's hits mama's face, I will remember, because when I fell and scraped my knee, her hands were always tender. Yo, I'll kick it in Swahili. Mama yangu nakupenda. Nobody understands the type of bond we share. 9 months plus 16 years, I've been in your care. You've been there from my first word to my first verb. And when I first sang, said I was the best you'd ever heard. Sometimes you had to lie just so you could see me smile, but then you smack me when I lie. I'm steady learning that's your style. You represent the beautiful Africa. Like Pretoria told me, never use drugs, go find your own euphoria. You see, you're the baller in the family. That's where I get my skills. You cook clean, watch my games, and still pay the bills. You are a symbol of strength, like the Statue of Liberty. You sacrificed your future for me, and that's a mystery. To give it all up for a seed that hasn't grown, I don't know how to pay you back, so I guess this is a loan. And I know you work hard, all the things that you've been through. I'm trying to figure you out, sis. Get me a Blue's Clue. Forgive me if I get mad and I don't understand. I don't mean to be bad. I'm trying to grow and be a man, and I know through everything that you're my biggest fan, and when I get confused, you tell me that God has a plan, but damn, you really are incredible, Ma. People don't understand how we made it so far. See, you're the backbone, the vertebrae that holds us together, the bee's knees, toes, and thighs that never say never. Now here's the realest one-liner I'm sure I've ever done. Miss Shalene Habarugira, I'm so proud to be your son. I love you, Ma. Thank you.